There is a name you still say out loud when the house is empty. Not a prayer, just the name, in the kitchen, or halfway up the stairs, when something happens that they would have wanted to know about. Tonight, I am going to tell you where they are, and what happens to everything you have said into an empty room. You do it more than you would ever admit. You have stopped telling anyone that you do it. Somewhere in the first year, someone gently suggested it was not healthy, and you have kept it private since. So it happens in the kitchen with nobody there, and then you carry on with the afternoon. Do not turn this off here. What I am about to say is not what you have been told. I have heard every one of those, not as a symptom, as speech. You were not talking to nobody. You have never once talked to nobody in that house. I want to start with the thing you are most afraid is true. You are afraid that they are simply gone. Not in the way you say at church, in the way you feel at 4 in the morning, when the words you can recite do not reach the place the fear lives. And you are afraid that the fear is the honest part, that the church words are what you say, and the 4 o'clock feeling is what you actually believe. I want to answer that first, before anything else, because everything after it depends on the answer. Here is the first true thing. They are not lost. They are held. And the holding did not begin on the day you lost them. Nothing about that person was ever in your keeping. Not for one day of the years you had them. They were in mine the whole time. And what happened was not that they slipped out of your hands into nothing. They moved from a room you can see into a room you cannot. You have been grieving, as though something was misplaced. Nothing was misplaced. I know exactly where they are, and I have known continuously, without a single gap, from the last breath until this evening. Sit with that before I go on. It is not a comfort, it is an address. You have imagined a great emptiness on the other side of that day, a silence you cannot picture and do not have words for. That is not what is there. There is no emptiness anywhere in what I made, and there is certainly none where I keep the people I love. Think about what those years actually were. You had a person. You had them at breakfast tables, in cars, in hospital corridors. On ordinary Tuesdays, neither of you thought to notice at the time. Thousands of those Tuesdays. You cannot get most of them back into your head now, and that has frightened you. None of that was ever stored in you. It was stored in me the whole time, every hour of it, including the ones you have forgotten and the ones you were too tired to notice. The record is not held in your memory. Your memory was never the record, and it was never asked to be. There is more, and the second thing is the one that answers the kitchen. Here is the second true thing. The love did not end when the breathing did. You know this in your body, and you have been told it is sentiment. It is not sentiment. Love is not a chemical arrangement in a working brain that stops when the brain stops. It is the most durable thing that has ever existed in my creation, and it does not have an expiry that matches a heartbeat. What happened on that day was that one direction of the traffic became invisible to you, not that the road closed. Think about what that means about the years you had. Everything that was real between you is still real, not preserved, the way a photograph preserves something that has stopped. Real, in the present tense, in the only place where anything is kept safely. If you still say their name in an empty house, type Amen below, and say the name too if you want to. Nobody here will tell you it is unhealthy. I know how many of you are typing it tonight. Almost every one of you thought you were the only one. Now let me answer the question you have never asked out loud, because you were afraid of what it would say about you. You want to know whether it reaches them. It has sat under everything for years. You have circled it in church, and in the car, and at 3 in the morning. You have never once put it into a sentence. The sentence itself felt like it might be a betrayal of something. Ask it. There is no version of that question that offends me. I have never once been troubled by a grieving person asking whether the dead can hear them. It is not superstition, and it is not weakness. It is the most natural question a loving creature can ask. Every culture in history has asked it. Most asked it badly, and you have been afraid of asking it at all. You are allowed to want to know. Wanting to know is not the same as trying to reach past me to get it. Breathe with me here. In. They are not lost. Out. They are held. In. Nothing was misplaced. Out. And he knows exactly where. I am not going to give you a mechanism. I am not going to tell you they hear your voice through the floor of heaven. That is not something I have told anyone, and I will not hand you a comfort I did not make. Here is what I will tell you, and it is more than you have been given before. Nothing spoken in love has ever fallen to the ground in my creation. Not one word of it. Every sentence you have said into that empty kitchen has been heard by me, and I am not a wall that words bounce off. I am the one who holds both of you. You are not shouting into a void. You are speaking to me about someone I have. That is not the same as talking to nobody, and it has never been the same. And here is something else you have not let yourself think. You have wondered, in some quiet way, whether the loving was worth what the losing cost. Not because you regret them, because the arithmetic on some evenings looks brutal, and you are tired. I will answer that one plainly. Yes, and I would know, because I chose the same arithmetic myself, knowing exactly what it would cost, and I would choose it again. There is one more thing about those years I want to name, and it is the one nobody says to you. You have been quietly ashamed of how long this is taking. Somewhere around the second year, the world expected you to be further along, and you were not, and you learned to perform being further along, and you have been performing ever since at family gatherings and in church foyers. Let me name what the grief actually is, since nobody else will. It is not a wound that should have closed. It is the shape of a love that was real. The size of the hole is the size of what was there. People who tell you to move on are asking you to make the love smaller in order to make the ache smaller, and I have never once asked that of you. You do not have to shrink it. You will not be asked to at any point, including at the door. Now watch what I have actually said about this. All through the book, you have read your whole life. Think of the words I chose for it. I called it sleep, not ended, not finished. Asleep, which is a word about a person who is still there, and about a state that does not last. I stood at the grave of a friend, 4 days in, with the sisters saying, "If you had been here." I did not correct them. I did not give a lecture about eternity. I wept. I stood in the road and cried in front of everyone, over a death I already knew I was about to undo. Watch that carefully, because it tells you what I think of your kitchen. I know how the story ends, and I still weep at the grave. And I said something else, at the very end, that I want you to hold. That the last enemy to be destroyed is death, the last one, which means it is on the list, and it is going, and it has an end. Let me speak now to where this cuts deepest. One of these is yours. To the one who lost the person you had built a whole life around, who still sets things down on their side of the counter, out of 40 years of habit, and then stands there. The habit is not a failure to accept anything. It is the body's own way of keeping faith with a person, and I am not going to shame a body for that. To the one who lost a child, at any age, whether last year or 50 years ago, you have carried something the world has no shape for, and you have carried it mostly in silence, because people flinch. Hear me, I have them. Not in a way I can explain to you in the terms you have, but I have them, and the years you have carried this have not been years I spent at a distance from you, and one that some of you have carried worse than the loss itself. To the one whose last conversation was a bad one, who has replayed a sentence for years, or a silence, or the fact that you were not there in the room at the moment. I want you to hear this plainly. That last moment does not stand for the whole relationship, and it has never once been how I read what was between you. 2 more. Stay for them. To the one who is now the last one left, who has buried the people who knew your whole story, and now lives among people who never met the version of you that mattered most. You are not the leftover, you are the keeper, and nothing you carry of them has ever fallen out of my sight. To the one who is afraid you are forgetting, the voice going faint, the face needing a photograph now, that frightens you more than almost anything, because it feels like losing them a second time. You are not the archive, I am. Nothing about them depends on the reliability of a tired memory, and nothing has been lost because you cannot recall a Tuesday. There is one more layer under all 5. Whichever is yours, hear the same voice. Now the deepest thing, the one I kept for last. You have been treating the reunion as a hope, something you tell yourself, in the way people tell themselves things, to get through a night. A comfort you are not entirely sure of, that you would not want examined too closely. Hold that. There is one more turn under it, and I will come to it. It is not a hope, it is a location. You are not moving toward an idea of seeing them again. You are moving toward a place where they already are, at a speed you cannot alter, and every ordinary day you get through is a day of the distance closed. The waiting is not empty time, it is travel, and on that day, there will be no explaining. You will not have to describe the years. That is a thing about being fully known that nobody thinks of as a mercy until they have been lonely a long time. There will be no catching up because nothing was missed. One more thing waits after this. Breathe with me once more. In. I am not waiting for a hope. Out. I am traveling toward a place. In. They are already there. Out. And I know the way. Come back tomorrow, and the day after. A grief this old does not lift in a night, and it is not supposed to, and I am not asking it to. There will be a new message waiting here every single day. Subscribe, and turn on the bell, so this voice can keep speaking through the evenings, which are the hardest part. Look at the golden stream now. Follow it downstream with your eyes, past where you can see, and understand that it does not end anywhere. It arrives. Everything the water ever carried arrives with it. Nothing lost on the way, nothing left behind at any bend. And at the end of it, a doorway of warm light standing open in the dark. You have imagined walking through that door alone. You will not. It has never once been my way to bring someone home, to an empty room. Now the thing I held back. You have been living as though the relationship ended and only the memory continues. That is not what happened. What ended was a shared address. The two of you no longer live in the same room. The room you are in has a chair in it that stays empty. That is a real and daily grief, and I am not going to talk you out of it. But nothing ended. You are still in a relationship with that person. In me, right now, tonight, in that kitchen. It is not the relationship you want. It is the one that is true. And it is not nothing. And it is not memory. That is why the name still comes out of you. It is not a failure to accept a fact. It is an accurate reflex about a thing that is still real. Your body has been right about it all this time, while people kept telling you to stop. So do not walk into tomorrow apologizing for it. When the name comes, in the kitchen or halfway up the stairs, say it. Say it out loud. And then say, and you have them, and you have me, and we are not as far apart as this room makes it look. And there is one more thing. There is a day you keep going back to. The last one, or the one before it. The one you have gone over 10,000 times, looking for what you should have done. Not tonight, tomorrow. Come back, and I will tell you what I was doing in that room. You are loved, you are seen, you are mine.